And we're always looking for ways to deepen our students' formation and bring them the best programming possible as we prepare them to be union in the world, as we like to say. Today, my colleagues, Nicole Mirando, Associate Dean, and Karmen Smith, Assistant Dean of Recruitment and Enrollment, have been part of identifying what kind of new educational opportunities students are looking for, and then actually making them a reality. Many thanks to each of you for being here and to talk about these new and exciting opportunities. And special thanks, most especially, to President Serene Jones, who has always led the way as Union deepens our work for our students. Our discussion will begin with a welcome from President Jones and an update, and then followed by a presentation from Associate Dean Mirando and Assistant Director Smith. The remaining time will be open to Q&A, and you can start posting your questions as soon as you hear the first sentence, and we'll make sure we get to as many questions as we possibly can before the end of the podcast. Typically, the way this goes, it lasts about 30 minutes. So if you're at lunch, you get to hear the entire thing. And then the extra 15 minutes are for Q&A. So if you have to leave us after the 30 minutes, we quite understand, but pop back over at any time you have and take a listen to the recorded webcast. Without any further ado, I introduce Serene Jones, President of Union Theological Seminary.
So thank you, Rita. Thank you so much for that introduction, and thanks to the whole development office and alumni relations for all the work that goes into these knowledge and nourishment podcasts. They're very exciting. I'm here today to be very quick to say that Union continues to be the Union that you know in many ways, in that we continue here to put what's in our mission statement, our charter, to put the concerns and cares of the world at the center of our education. And as we all know, at times like this, those pressing concerns and needs are front and center for everyone. Issues of racial justice, the pandemic, immigration and economic inequality, all of these things are part of the work that Union does in the classroom with our students and in the world. At Union, we're at a time of renewal and renaissance, where we're imagining the work of Union in new and different ways. Last year we were remote, now we have come back to campus, and the energy being released in all directions is remarkable. Hastings Hall, for those of you who lived in Hastings, you have to come visit, has been totally renovated, along with the physical plant underneath it. And we're getting ready to enter the second phase of renovations. Part of that renaissance at Union, though, is not just about buildings, it's also about, even more importantly, programs. We're developing not just new programs, but profoundly different kinds of programs. Today, we're going to talk to you about our new certificate format that is being created so that students in particularized areas can dig deep, but in a shorter time frame. We're going to talk about two of those, our Chaplaincy certificate and our Religion in the Black Experience certificate. But there's a whole breadth of programming that's being made available online that allows people to not have to register as a full-time in-residence Union student to benefit from our education. So to get to the real meat of the conversation, it's my pleasure to introduce Assistant Director of Recruitment and Enrollment, Karmen Smith. We have a wonderful group of new students in this entering class, and Karmen was instrumental to getting them here this year, and especially given the constraints and conditions of this moment in time, to be welcoming such a large and wonderful and brilliant class is a real gift to us and to the faculty and to everyone. So thank you, Karmen, for that work. And today I am proud to also say that Karmen is a Union alum from the class of 2019, yay, and that I'm so glad that he continues his ministry and work here at Union. So Karmen, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, President Jones. I am honored to be a part of the union family as an alum and to also further this work because I truly believe in my heart of hearts, as people says, that union is imperative to the culture, to the world, if not always, especially at this time. Being able to meet with students, I'm often the first interaction they have with union. They come in, whether it's through email or the website or an event, and they speak to me, and what people really want to know more than, how long is a degree or how much it costs. People really want to know, how does this really impact your life? And we get to hear those conversations. We get to talk with those prospective students. And what we found is a lot of the surveys are correct in many ways. More than 50% of union students are multiple belonging or check off the non-denominational, multiple belonging, no practice at all sort of affiliation. And they're coming to union because they feel like union is the place. I confess, I applied to one school. I knew union was the only school for me. And I'm finding that more students come and say, this is the place I really want to be. I feel like I can stretch out here. I feel like there's a community here. I feel like union's going to support me. And I don't have to read a script. I don't need a pamphlet to tell you about union because I've experienced it. And so the programs that we've developed, like our chaplaincy program, is part of a response to that multiple belonging. Especially during the pandemic, students were calling and trying to find out how can they help, that urgency to want to be a part of the healing process of helping people. And to know that we had a chaplaincy program, that we had a long history of chaplaincy before people were even looking for it. And that our program was really geared towards a multi-belonging, a non-belonging, but an interreligious engagement focus. As Richard Rohr writes often, that to be religious in the 21st century is to be interreligious. And union has a strong foundation in being interreligious because we must be able to talk to one another. And so the students who come to union are looking for that. They are seekers who are looking to be able to talk and have conversations across many denominations and many faith practices and no practices whatsoever. Also with our RBE program, Religion and the Black Experience, as a response to what was going on in the world with George Floyd, our Black students came and said, this is a part of the experience that I feel like we're missing. Pentecostalism is growing, and we really want to be able to go out to our churches and to be able to impact in ways that we haven't before. We want to know that history and that information about movements in the church and how it has really affected Black people across the diaspora. And so as a response, union has heeded the call and headed the charge and saying, we are going to do this at union. But most importantly, whether it's a program or concentration, there are so many students who said, this is the time I need to be at union. And I am blessed to be able to talk to these students. And if you could just hear some of the conviction in their speech and their conversations that just says, I really have to be at union. My whole life I've searched. We've had a surge of third and fourth career students who've said, I've waited my whole life and now is the moment. Some are challenged by finances, or they had children, or they are just trying to make it work with, you grow up, you have things happen in life, but they have come to this point and said, I am determined to come to union. In the 70s, they used to say, hook or crook, I'm going to make it happen. People are now at that point in their life where they're saying, there's a lot going in the world. I want to be a part of the solution. I want to get those tools and that information and that access that union provides. And sorry, I get a little teared up because to hear these stories about people who have just waited their whole lives or have heard of James Cone or Serene Jones or Kelly Brown Douglas and said, when I am ready to go to grad school, I'm going there. They come with that full heart and that seeking mind and ready to enter union. And that's how these programs came. And it affects recruitment because we get to bring in a whole new group. We get to expand that diversity of not just thought, but social economic status and age. Students from 23 to 74 contact me here at Union and say, I am ready to come. So all that you do to help Union is imperative. And we are just happy to heed the call and to head the charge here in admissions.
Oh my, wow. I imagine for those who are listening, calling union as a prospective student and having Karmen answer the phone, you would be like putting your signature on the application before the call is done. Karmen, thank you. That's such a good sense of the energy and the real profound space that Union is for so many people at this moment in time. And next, we're going to hear from the person who then, when they get here, actually has to oversee that process of education. I'm really thrilled to introduce Nicole Mirando, who is just as of this week has got a new title. She is Associate Dean of Academic Administration. Yes, so congratulations, Nicole. Nicole has been a key part of working out the details of all the new programming that we're doing. And she has helped navigate us through this endless maze of state regulations and approval processes for new degree concentrations and for online programming. So Nicole, I'm thankful for all of the work that you've done behind the scenes that nobody ever sees, but is detailed and continuous. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, President Jones. Thank you, Karmen. I am thrilled to be here. Again, my name is Nicole, and I'm going to talk briefly about our two newest concentrations. And however many times you all have heard, let me share my screen. So here is my screen. Hopefully you all can see it. The first concentration I'll talk about is Religion and the Black Experience. I'm not going to read the description, but y'all can read it there, and it is available for all of our students. So each one of our 4 degrees, a student can concentrate in Religion and the Black Experience. Every student is required to select a concentration, and this is one of the options. You can see I included a very brief list of some of the courses that are applicable to this concentration. There are many more, but you can see one of the features of this concentration is how inter or intradisciplinary it is. So it crosses many fields here at Union and is in many of our courses. So that is Religion and the Black Experience, and it is advised by 2 of our faculty members, Dr. Tim Adkins-Jones and Dr. Andrea White. And the second newest concentration, which was a long time in development, is Chaplaincy. Again, you can read the brief description. This is quite a rigorous program, and so is only available for Mdiv students, which makes sense considering the nature of it. But very excitingly, students of all tracks can declare a chaplaincy concentration. So you can see it's available also to our BIE and IIE students as well. And just to show you what our students have to go through to declare this chaplaincy concentration, here is the degree planner. So you can see how outlined and how specific this program is, and just how many, again, similar to RBE, Religion and the Black Experience, this also crosses many fields. So you can see it touches on interreligious engagement, many other fields as well. So it is also quite interdisciplinary, which is something Union is very proud of. And that is a high-level overview of our 2 newest concentrations. And I believe now I turn it over to Rita Walters.
Thank you. I'm still remaining teary-eyed just from the introduction and these really exciting programs. And questions are starting already, so we're really thrilled about that. If we were in person at the end of your presentation, you would hear thunderous applause because everyone is so appreciative, but you only have me who is clapping now. But we really, so thank you, Dean Mirando. Thank you, Assistant Dean Karmen Smith. This is really wonderful. So our first question is already in, and that question is, why these 2 concentrations, and how do we come to select these 2 particular concentrations? Yep, Karmen, would you like to start?
Yes, these 2 concentrations really came out of the feedback we were getting from prospective students and from current students. students at Union wield a ton of power. We don't run Union, students run Union, because students their hands and their minds are on the pulse of what's happening in the world as we are, moving the paperwork, making sure they get in, making sure they have enough financial support. We're doing all of this work, but they are on the front lines of climate justice. They're on the front lines of what's happening in their churches and Black Lives Matter. And so they come to us and say, this is what we need in our toolbox to go out and reimagine faith in the public square. And so we are blessed to have a very capable and amenable president in President Jones, who says, this is what students is looking for. We can take the reins and give them exactly what they need. And so that's really how they come about, is that students are looking for those tools to leave Union and reimagine faith in the public square.
And if I may just add, philanthropy supports this effort in every way. So when our students do exactly what Karmen just mentioned, and President Jones says, yes, absolutely, let's move forward, and our board agrees, the next thing that happens is we go to you and many times to say, is this something that you want to participate in philanthropically? And you have said yes, yes, and yes again. So every chance we get, we want to say thank you and continue to stay committed to the institution and how deeply we appreciate your largesse. We have another question, and this question is from Jude. And hi, Jude, you're calling from, or signing in from Sri Lanka, which is really amazing. I have no idea what time it is there, but if you don't mind putting it in the chat, I'm really quite curious. So Jude's question is, they're already an Mdiv holder, and can you start the chaplaincy program at Union if you already have an Mdiv? So I don't,
I guess I can answer that. I hate to say the answer no, but yeah, as you already have an MDiv, you would have to apply again as an MDiv student and be admitted to the program and then concentrate in chaplaincy. So at this time it is not. However, like President Jones said, we are developing advanced certificates in many areas, and that someday could be one. So it's certainly not in the realm of possibility, just like most things at Union. So at this time, no. But please don't discount it going forward.
And if I might add, we do have a post-MDiv program called our STM, and that's a one-year program where you can have a very focused set of courses and thesis. And in many cases, it would be interesting to look at your courses you took as an MDiv student, and to see what courses overlap with what's already in our program, in our chaplaincy program, and to come up with creative ways of thinking about how the STM might help as a post-MDiv degree to get that chaplaincy concentration there for you.
Thank you. We have another question, and I love this one. This is a little bit related to development. So I'm going to read the question and then propose to answer it. About the Black Experience Certificate Program, I've been throwing around the ideas around the faculty, and I'm wondering if Union's faculty as a whole could apply for a $5 million grant from the Templeton or the Mellon Foundation in order to dramatically expand the scope of the Black Experience Certificate Program. And by expand, I mean perhaps find the James Cone, found, I think they meant James Cone or the Toni Morrison International Black Studies Institute, or on par with the Frankfurt School. I think Union could accomplish this, especially if the faculty, including Cornell West, signed their names to the grant application. And thank you tremendously. We want to talk to you later. So you didn't identify your name here, but call me because I would love to hear a lot more about your idea. But I'll allow President Jones, please, if you want to chime in, who knows a lot about grants and foundations, especially these large foundations, and how they operate for unsolicited proposals.
Yes, no, and we would love to hear from that question if you have some ideas specifically about those foundations. One of the things that we're constantly wrestling with, and anyone who's familiar with Union knows this, is that there are foundations that are sensitive and aware of the importance of faith traditions. And then there are foundations that find the whole topic of faith traditions something that they don't want to take a step into. So we are always applying for grants and looking for opportunities. And you're right that expanding the Religion in the Black Experience is one that would be wonderful to step out. And just on the topic of our beloved late James Cone, we do have, are getting ready to celebrate the opening in the Burke Library of a special collection that's been put together in a sectioned off area of the library, which is a sort of recreation of his own library and his workspace. And in the next several months, we're really looking forward to opening that and making his archive available to the many, many people who want that. We were very disappointed that when COVID hit, the library closed. And so we lost a whole year of the very detailed work that goes into the creation of an archive. But we also this year have a grant that allows us to have Cone Fellows in the entering class, students who are going to be in the Religion in the Black Experience track and are supported by extra funds from the Cone's Fellowship Award. So we are slowly building that out and we're very excited about it.
Can I just add to that, that many times when students are contacting me and they are excited about James Cone or Religion in the Black Experience, they are often coming from places that they can't financially just, have this privilege of moving to New York City. We all know how it is to move to New York City, especially from a small town. And so all of that support truly helps ease the process of even applying, which is already hard enough to apply for grad school. But it really helps ease the process and ease the mind to know that they could even be eligible for something like this. So that support is greatly appreciated.
And we have another question, thank you, from Andre, who was accepted they are from Chicago. I'm sorry, I don't know the personal pronouns. They're from Chicago, and they were accepted into our program, but was sort of derailed by COVID. Karmen, must they reapply, or how does that process work?
As long as the student has deferred, they're allowed to defer for up to 1 year. And so we have been very flexible around that rule with COVID. So all they would need to do is to reach out to me, reach out to the admissions office, and we can talk with them to make sure that they can get to you.
Great. And I would say, Andre, thank you for being on this call. We have internship programs where we in development, we work with students. So please say hello. We have a t-shirt waiting for you and a mug. So we can't wait until you get here. Union can't be what it's meant to be until you arrive. So we are anxiously awaiting your majestic arrival. So thank you. Yeah. We don't seem to have another question on tap yet, but Karmen, would you mind please? And then, Reverend Brenda Ford, thank you for joining us. She says she's really glad to hear about the concentrations and how things are coming. Trustee Rhonda Joy McLean is also on the line, and she said, thank you for this excellent and comprehensive, informative discussion. It has been quite helpful. So, and that's another thing I think that we get to experience here is that when you leave Union, you never really leave Union, and it's just the way we like it. So please continue to stay connected to who we are. So Karmen, I was going to, I'm sorry. Nicole, please.
Okay, I was going to answer the question asked by the anonymous attendee about the Latino or Asian concentration. So like President Jones said, we really do listen to students and hear what the need is. And so before we had the official RBE concentration, students are permitted with approval to create an interdisciplinary concentration. And it's a combination of fields where they can select a concentration that we don't deliver. And so that is how a student would determine if they want to concentrate in Latino studies or Asian studies. They would declare interdisciplinary, and we would work with them to develop their own, basically, their own individualized concentration. It's rare, but it does happen.
And that's not, and just to add to that, it's not to say that in the midst of all this creative work that we're doing, that there is not similar concentrations to officially come down the track as we continue to build the faculty and expand the programs.
With our Latinx community, we do have a Latinx caucus here at Union, and they have met with me a couple of times. So we do have a Mama Leo lecture series coming in February to honor not only the Latinx community, but a Latinx woman, which has been iconic and so engaging for the community. And a lot of people in the community who don't go to Union are looking at Union now and calling my office to talk. And so we plan on doing a build up to that to continue the inclusive nature. Plus EDS is very much focused on adding a lot more Spanish into their worship service and into their literature, as well as our Dean of Chapel, Sandra Montez, who has been amazing about making sure that we are inclusive in many ways, and is even talking about having a evening chapel, maybe once a month, that includes the Latinx worship. So I believe that there's more happening, and all of this is student-led, as we said. So as long as students say this is what they need, we are on it.
Wonderful. Can you speak more, either of you or all three of you, can you speak more about, I'm thinking about alums and being connected to Union over the lifetime. So what other things are available to alums once you have your MDiv? And how can they stay connected academically and scholarly to our community and their community?
I can start.
Okay.
So we will have another one of these knowledge and nourishments talking about all of the different pathways. And for alums who have their MDiv, just like the question we got from Sri Lanka, from Jude, there are many people who have an MDiv, but after several years in ministry or several decades in ministry, really yearn to come back and to study a specific area in a very focused way. And apart from the 1-year full-time residency STM, we have not in the past had a way to do that. But with our new certificate programs, which are 4 courses in a variety of areas, we do have a way where you can pick an area of concentration and you can come and over the course of a year or 2, actually enroll and get credit for those 4 courses and a certificate in the area. And we are slowly going through the process with New York State to get what we hope will eventually be probably 8 to 10 certificates approved. The 4 that we have now are interreligious engagement, social justice, Nicole help me.
Religion and the Black experience, yeah.
Black experience.
And spirituality.
And spirituality.
Yeah.
So we have more to come in eco justice, in LGBTQI, in any number of areas, and we're excited to get those rolled out. So, and then also just add to that, we are constantly doing public programming at Union, and all you need to do is make sure you're on our list to get announcements, and the steady stream of just really high level theological programming that's available is awesome.
And can we speak a little to, is it possible to get an MDiv online? That's another question that's just up.
At this time, we are not approved by the state for an online MDiv. We are really a residential community, and this is, of course, not considering COVID. So I don't believe so, but many of our courses are online. So it's possible that a part-time student may be able to complete an MDiv online, but at this point, really, we are a full-time residential 3-year program for the most part.
And that's the difference between, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Karmen.
I was going to say that's the difference between our 2 degree offerings, which is the Master of Art and the MDiv, the Master of Divinity. The Master of Art is more a theoretical degree. You're doing research, you end with a thesis, but the MDiv is really hands-on. You know, your 2nd year, you're going to be doing, you know, some field education, and being out in the field in New York City is a wonderful place to do it because there's so many site offerings. So really to be online, you miss that community, you miss that hands-on approach that you really have signed up for. So we want to make sure that we give you the full experience and the full union experience for your MDiv so that you step out of union's doors equipped and ready to serve and reimagine faith.
That is a much better answer than I gave.
That's a great answer. You can tell he works in admissions. So, and then I'm going to add another response too, is we are officially launching a master's program where you can get a full degree completely online.
Right.
It's a 36-hour program called a Master's in Social Justice. You would take the same selection of courses as you would have available to you in the MDiv program, but it will be very concentrated, and we are very excited for the first time to actually allow people to get a full degree completely online, which is very important, particularly for students who, as Karmen said, can't get to New York City, but also for people who are working full time. That will include offering a steady stream of evening courses and weekend courses and short-term intensives. So that will begin if you apply this year, you will be in the entering class, the founding class of the Masters of Social Justice next September.
Just super, super exciting. Right. And then what percentage of, another question, what percentage of our faculty are Black or disabled? I think this question is really getting to diversity here at Union. And I would imagine we would like to answer that from all levels, not just the faculty. Yeah, President Jones?
So now I'm going to have to sit here and count. So we have a very diverse faculty, probably one of the most diverse faculties in the country. And I am not doing the math very well, but we have a significant number of African-American and African faculty, Latinx faculty, an Asian faculty member. We also have an international presence, someone from an Indian background, from India. We have a number of interreligious professors, professor of Islam, who's a practicing Muslim, our professor of Buddhism, who is leads a Sangha. So in any way you can imagine diversity, it has been captured at Union, and it still continues to be a huge priority, not only with respect to hiring faculty, but with recruiting students and with building out our wonderful and amazing staff that you're meeting here today.
Yeah. And I will just chime in for a moment, and Karmen is nodding his head yes, so I want him to answer as well. But just from the perspective of the administration, which is what I can speak to as a personal experience, it's the most, and I've been doing this for a super long time, it is the most diverse administrators that I've worked with in the history of my career. And that says a lot because I'm old. So it really is an amazing place from a perspective of thought that's very diverse. And not only is there a perspective of thought, because that's easy for all of us to have, but that's welcome and encouraged, which I think we go that extra step to do. So it's so in that regard, it really is quite an amazing place to be. As President Jones so indicated, we're always looking to continue that path forward. So Karmen, I know you may want to chime in as well.
I just wanted to say that when I was enrolling into Union, I was questioning the same thing. How many people there are actually Black? Are there going to be LGBTQ professors? But what I found when I got here was beyond that level of diversity. That once you get to Union, you will realize that's just really surface. Union is truly diverse in so many ways that everyone has a place. And what I noticed from students who come to me from other schools, as I work with other schools in recruitment, is that they always say that Union truly means bring your full self. When people ask, what do I do with the personal statement, or how do I get to Union? How can I be the perfect candidate? And we say, bring your full self. It's because not only in your personal statement, but in the classroom, The professors are asking that you include your social economic status, where you came from, what your block was like, what your city was like. Your life experiences are important, not just reading the text, but also reading the text and then letting it speak to you, because that is the diversity that Union has in its hallways and in its classrooms and seeks to have in the world.
Mhm. Absolutely. We have another question. In one of the slides, why does the MDiv require more credits than the PhD? Did I read that right? So
Yes.
Nicole, you want to answer that?
Yes, thank you for paying such close attention. I was thinking to myself, do I put in coursework in parentheses? Is anybody going to notice that?
Yes.
Are you looking for a work study job in the records office? It's actually, so the MDiv 3-year program is 78 credits, but the PhD program has 43 credits of coursework, but probably all of our PhD students have previous master's degree or previous STM 1-year degrees that some of those credits often come in. And after the coursework, PhD students are here for most likely another 3 to 5 years working on their comprehensive exams, their dissertation proposal, their modern language exams. So there's much more to it than those 43 credits of coursework. So that's a very good question.
That is a good question. Thank you. Right.
There's a little thing called a dissertation that.
Right. Oh yeah, then there is that, right? Could you describe the content of the social justice certificate, if you will? And Susan, thank you for that question. So Nicole, do you want to take on that one?
Can we pull that up and,
Mhm.
or I don't know if we have a thing to show.
The advanced certificate in social justice. Karmen,
Social Justice MA.
I'm sorry, the MA in social justice. Yes, so that is very new. We are still developing it. It's going to be a 36 credit MA. So it's a professional degree as opposed to our academic MA. And it will have various areas, which we'll call course types, such as gender social justice, interreligious engagement social justice, eco-justice. What am I missing? Serene, Karmen. So students can, racial justice. So many areas within social justice that students can focus on, and that will be mainly online. So there are not program materials from the academic side yet, but I'm sure there may be marketing materials that we can share, right, Karmen? Am I misspeaking? Or there may be a one-pager that you can share? Okay.
Yeah, we have one-pagers coming out of that office, yes. And
it is its own degree, Jude. So MA in social justice and Master of Arts in social justice is a 36 credit standalone individual Master of Arts.
And one answer, Jude, I think to your question, and it's a great question of clarification. So we have the 36-hour full master's degree, which is 12 courses. But we also have a certificate in social justice, which is just 4 courses and is not a professional master's, but a certificate. And then, of course, we have social justice running through everything we do. So actually, any degree you get from Union is going to have social justice written all over it. But these are the 2 specific ways you can focus on social justice in the 1-year degree program that's online and in the certificate program.
That's great. And then we have a question from Virginia Day. A number of our JTS graduates are certified chaplains. So is there a way that these graduates might be helpful in designing the curriculum?
So I can say that our chaplaincy program was designed by many of our faculty, but one person who spearheaded it was Dr. Sue Pak, and she runs the hybrid field ed program, and it's very much involves JTS. So I want to say almost for certain they were definitely involved in designing some of it, but I can certainly take it back to her and get more details about it. But she's been here a long time, and she was instrumental in bringing on the chaplaincy program.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a joint CPE program with JTS,
right.
Which is, of course, everyone who knows about clinical pastoral education. that it is a key part of preparation for chaplaincy. And that's fully in partnership with Jewish Theological Seminary.
Mhm. Right. Next question, and I think this is a great question. Can a person apply to a union PhD without a master's degree? If so, why? As there are a lot of schools that give master's degrees to their students while they're doing their PhD program, not before.
Shall I take
So
that one?
Yeah,
Oh,
President
please.
Jones.
Carmen, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Well, students who do not have a previous master degree in religion or theology cannot apply to the PhD program because our PhD program is not designed to give you the basics of theology and divinity. That is our master's program. So students who come with maybe a master's in psychology would not have, the biblical languages, would not have the theological basis to move seamlessly into our PhD program. That being said, we do have several third or fourth career students, lawyers, provosts at other colleges and universities who come to Union with masters and PhDs and still say, I want that Union Master of Divinity so that I can enter the PhD program, and it has not in any way, blocked their forward movement. So it is a diverse program. It does require that you do have a master's in theological studies before applying to the PhD program. But for people who do have, let's say, a master's of art, you can also apply to the STM program to get sort of like a 1-year focused study to give you preparation for applying to Union's PhD. So all of those options are available, and I'd be willing to talk with you if you want to contact our office. I'll put my email in the chat.
And how many PhD students do we admit each year, Karmen? Roughly.
Each year it changes, but this year we are admitting up to 2. It is always competitive to be a Union PhD student. And that's why, if I can say, that's why we have some of the best students, because people really come and bring their big, bold ideas to Union because they know that Union has the faculty to support their ideas and the space to stretch out. So we often get some of the best applications because we are so competitive and we're a union.
Right, great. And I think we have time for one last question. And then I would love to have closing statements from all 3 of you, if helpful. Our last question is from Jude. Their focus will be chaplaincy, and they're thinking of doing a degree. But how can they do this degree and still be eligible for their F1 visa status? So let me just read the question again, because perhaps I confused you all.
I think I see it, Rita.
Yeah, my
I think
focus
I
is
see the
chaplaincy, right? I'm
Yeah.
thinking of which degree would hold me to do so and get eligible for F1 visa status.
Yeah, so and Karmen, maybe you can supplement my answer, but we have a large percentage of international students every semester. But if you are very strongly considering chaplaincy, that would be the Mdiv degree. Because of the field work and because of the nature of the program, it's not available as a Master of Arts. Like Karmen said, the Mdiv is really field-based and practically based, so it would be a Master of Divinity. But we do have plenty of F1 students that apply and come here for their program.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, we also, in the post-MDiv STM program, always have a high number of international students. It does qualify for your visa. And that would be a program that is post-MDiv that could well be focused in terms of coursework on the courses that are associated with the chaplaincy program and a thesis related to chaplaincy.
Thank you. We have exactly 60 seconds left. That gives each of you 20 seconds to have final remarks. I'm going to go ahead and take the privilege of the moderator and just start really quickly to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We so appreciated you all being here today and hanging out with us for the last 45 minutes. Yeah, President Jones?
Just thank you. Yes, to reiterate what Rita said and what Karmen and Nicole have said. We are here. Our arms are wide open. Waiting for the amazing students who are yet to come here, but also embracing the world with all of its incredible challenges in this moment in time. And to make a decision to come here is really to make a decision to profoundly make a difference in the world. And I can say that with all of my heart. So we hope to see you if you're a prospective student here at this place, online or in the classroom.
Wonderful. I think that said it all, right? I think my colleagues will agree that said it all. So thank you for, I know, this is so great. Again, if we were in person, applause, but you have me to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.